premise of this entire course is built upon a conviction that each lesson provides relevant value to you, the student. I created this course with an intent to give you the tools, information, and insight you need to succeed in virtually any endeavor, business, passion, or path you choose in life. The tools and information you'll find in this lesson will give you the courage to resist the urge to quit, an all too common occurrence in the world today. The inspiration for creating this part of the course came from a puzzling trend I began to notice as I was analyzing the dynamics of why people give up and quit on their goals and aspirations. I discovered a disconnect that exists among the motivated people who say they want to succeed and those who are actually experiencing any kind of measurable success. The disconnect, I discovered, centers on a misalignment between intent and purpose. I discovered that while we all have good intentions, we're prone to fail if we're misaligned with the nature of our true purpose. So I took deliberate action to address that disconnect. Everything I did, and still do, to help others succeed is aligned with the intended message of this course. Your mission is no different. You have an objective to reach a goal and to ensure you make it through challenging times when they arise. Therefore, everything you do matters. But if your intent is misaligned with your purpose, you put yourself at a disadvantage and are more apt to quit the well-intended initiatives you start. This course of instruction was not created overnight. It took time to build and respond to the changes, ensure clarity, and to establish your trust in me. In other words, I had to be intentional in every aspect of the course to ensure I would deliver on the promises I stated at the outset. You will have to do the same in whatever area of service or expertise you seek to offer. Therefore, your product or service must be properly aligned with your intention to deliver on the promises you make to the audiences you serve. If you're out of alignment with your purpose, you'll likely quit somewhere along the way. The things you learn throughout this course are designed to help prevent that from occurring. Your intention fuels your desire to succeed. When you're intentional, your chances of success increase exponentially. Your urge to quit diminishes, and your determination gathers strength and momentum. Effective leaders are intentional. That is, they're deliberate at mastering and practicing the principles of leadership with awareness as their guide. That awareness gives them an edge to immediately sense whether something is working or not. Therefore, be intentional in all you do, most especially the things you do in support of your goals and objectives to provide a value or service to others. Take a moment to refer to your workbook and fill in the blanks to complete the following affirmation. You can use this affirmation to support your intentional mindset. As an intentional authority and leader, I must always ensure clarity, trust, and respect among my team, my followers, and my customers. This is an affirmation I routinely use to reinforce the conviction I have with respect to my intentionality. I encourage you to place this affirmation somewhere you can readily see it to remind you of the power of your intention. In my effort to tap into the power of intention, I've discovered 5 proven ways you can instill clarity, trust, and respect with others to create the kind of foundation you'll need to achieve success and withstand the urge to quit. These 5 tips will help you to better lead with the intention you need to reach your goals and objectives and to succeed in your endeavors. Follow along in your workbook and pause the video when you need more time to absorb the information. Let's get started. Number 1, communicate effectively. Absolutely nothing gets done without some form of communication process in play. Therefore, you should never miss an opportunity to communicate your vision, mission, objectives, and goals. You should also be intentional about staying connected with your customers and followers. The power of your message is anchored in the way you deliver it. So be sure to convey your message convincingly, accurately, and in your own authentic voice. In other words, be yourself. People will know whether you actually believe what you're telling them. You cannot convince others if you aren't convinced yourself. Number 2, supplement your shortcomings. Intentional leadership compels you to think critically, most especially when it comes to your own self-analysis. Let's face it, no one is perfect. So be sure to get out of your own way long enough to assess the reality that you may need to improve some things about yourself or your style. Improve where you can, recruit, and hire where you cannot. Never forget that you can't do anything if you try to do everything. Find a team that understands your vision. Lead them effectively, and you'll accelerate the effect of your intended results. Number 3, cultivate your culture. Does your product or service add value to the lives of those you serve? Do you truly believe in your product or service? Does it show in your level of enthusiasm? How often do you take the time to get to know the demographics of the people you serve? Look for the things you don't already know by interacting with your target audience. Continue to assess both the known and unknown aspects of the dynamics of your business and how it affects the broader picture. The culture you embrace is evident to everyone. Make sure it's one you intend to portray as you continue to grow. Number 4, harness your strengths. Each and every one of us has a distinctive advantage because of the unique gifts and talents we have. In my mentoring sessions, I use a cliche that reminds people to know your strengths, show your strengths, and grow your strengths. Let's jot that one down in the workbook, shall we? I'll say it again because it's worth repeating. Know your strengths, show your strengths, and grow your strengths. There's no one on this planet who better knows your strengths than you. Knowing your strengths allows you to leverage your unique ability to provide goods or services by showing those strengths. There's something powerful about using your talents, gifts, and abilities the way they were meant to be used. When you don't use your strengths, the people around you miss out on what you are meant to provide. For example, I have a natural affinity to interact with people. You'd never know it from the epic fail I experienced teaching my first college class. There I was, standing before a class of graduate students as a first-time instructor. My knees were shaking and I'd forgotten to take a breath before I started talking. I actually shortened the first lesson so we could take a break early. But I managed to regain my composure when one of the students expressed how interested they were in the lecture. They actually said that they were enjoying it. So, despite my less than stellar personal perception of my performance, the students gave me the courage I needed to forge on. Since that day, I've gone on to teach, lecture, and speak hundreds of times. How did I do it? Well, I learned to grow my strengths by learning what not to do, in as much as what to do. I worked hard, prepared, practiced, and presented again and again and again. I refused to give up. I refused to quit. Number 5, be more proactive and less reactive. Intentional leadership requires you to seek the wise counsel of introspect, which is the epicenter of knowledge, wisdom, patience, and understanding. Effective leaders do everything they can not to lead with emotions. If they do lead with emotions, they're not effective and they are rarely proactive. They are reactive. Emotions bring about reactions that can get you into trouble fairly quickly. So, when setbacks, bad news, or mistakes occur, be quick to consider the bright side, the learning side, or the opportunity side. Because, as we are all aware, there are always 2 sides to every situation. Find out what you don't know. It could be the missing piece you've been searching for. A proactive nature helps us to get ahead of our emotions and to a place where logic prevails. But here's the thing, emotions will always be a part of the equation. It's important to know that because emotions provide the insight we need to determine when to apply the balance of logic. We are, after all, not emotionless beings. The major issue with emotions comes when you allow your emotions to distort reality. I'm reminded of a quote by an unknown author that tells us, "It's never as bad as you think when you're emotional, and it's likely not as great as you think either." Not all emotions are bad, by the way, hence the reason they are inherently part of the analysis process. Some emotions help us to detect the important factors such as empathy, compassion, pain, and other aspects of behavioral influence. Effective leaders ensure they're in control of their own emotions. They ensure their emotions they employ are the type that make positive impact on others. They do this by becoming more aware of when their emotions come into play. Take a close look at your own emotional processes. Discover whether you're generally proactive or reactive in nature. Are you aware of those times when your emotions come into play? With your self-analysis complete, simply move ahead accordingly, making the necessary adjustments as required.